Hello, class. I am missing you today. I hope everybody's having a good day, a good Wednesday. So as you know, we have the test coming up on Friday. It's a team test. We're just going to go over some of the problems here together and yeah, you're going to work these out, and then when you're done working them out, if the sub wants to hit the play button, I can give you some helpful hints. Otherwise, the sub can just forward on to the next slide if you don't need any helpful hints. So you should pause right now, and then if you need help, hit play and I will take you through it. So if you're going to graph this, or if you're going to find the inverse algebraically, you're still looking at the same thing, you're just looking at it slightly differently. Graphing it, I think, is super easy. So whoever was sitting on side A, you're the lucky team. Because when I graph something like this, I know right away that it's quadratic because I see that. So it's going to be, parabola. I also happen to know the h and k values, so h is going to equal -2 because of that, x minus -2, and k is going to equal -3 because of that. So to graph it, I would just put my h and k values. And then I have an a value here just of 1, which means over 1 up 1 from both sides, and I can only graph those two little points there, but that's the graph. So that's how I can graph it, but its inverse is going to be a little bit trickier. Now, if I have to graph its inverse, I think what I would do is just recognize that h is the x value of the vertex, and k is the y value of the vertex, and I know that x and y get flopped. So I would just take and put my new point. Instead of being the point -2, -3, it's going to be the point -3, -2. And that's just because I switched x and y. So that's how I would do that. So then I would just go to the point -3, -2. I put my new vertex there, and it's going to be laying on its side. So that's how I would do the graph, but you may have found a better way of doing it. How I would do this algebraically, some of you like to make a little list of what you would normally do to x. Personally, I might just switch x and y around, and then I would solve it, algebraically solve for y. So of course the first thing I would do is add 3 to both sides. The next thing I would do is square root both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. So plus or minus is square root x plus 3. It's going to equal y plus 2. And then the last thing I would do is subtract 2 from both sides. And then my answer would be this. Now, if I put this into my calculator, of course, I should see this graph. And I might even, do that if I have my calculator available. So how your teams can sort of go about looking at this together would be then to go ahead and put in y equals, and it's -2. And first I'm going to do plus the square root of 3. I mean x plus 3. And then I'm going to do y equals -2 minus the square root of x plus 3. And then I would just take a look at that graph and make sure that it's what my partners had graphed, and sure enough, that's interesting. It graphs both the positive and negative. So that's how I would do that one. If you want to watch the next problem, you can go to the next video. Otherwise, the next problem on the list is just to solve all of these. Go to the next video if you want to see how.